manifestation meets business then is understanding that all of these principles of manifestation, so law of attraction, right? Magnetism, using your imagination, the power of intention, the feeling of who you are, identity work, all of these things, they all apply to business specifically. You know what? You can work less and make more. You can actually rest and make more money. You can actually make money while you're sleeping. Any belief that you have to work harder to make more is not a belief that I hold anymore. And so for me, it's about how can I serve at my grandest level. Authenticity is the most magnetic energy in the entire universe. To be your authentic self. Authenticity doesn't necessarily mean honesty, but it means being your authentic self. Why would we fear being ourselves? Why would we fear that? It is the easiest, most effortless thing to be. The energy that you do a thing in determines the outcome. I am so happy to be here. I am like a whole new woman coming at you guys today. I have so much to tell you, so much to talk about. We're going to talk manifestation meets business, okay? I have built an extraordinary business. It is not what the average person does, in the speed that the average person does it. And I want to share with you all what it took to do that. It has been a journey of love and positivity and beautiful, beautiful awarenesses. So everything that I assume in my mind becomes my experience in the physical 3D world because I set that intention before I go into anything and everything. So I want you to really, really reflect and be like, okay, what is something that Kathleen said that I can actually move into my body today and take action from that idea, right? What if tomorrow you're a completely different version of you by simply allowing yourself to feel something different, to be something different? I remember I said something to Chris just like a week ago. I said something to him about like, well, you know, I was talking about the vehicle that I just purchased, and all of my vehicles to this date have been white. And I was thinking about making my vehicle a different color other than white for the first time in my life. I said to him, you know, all my cars up to this moment have been white. And he goes, well, Kathleen, you are under no obligation to be who you were 5 minutes ago. And I went, wow, who said that? And he's like, well, that's an Alan Watts quote. It says it's his favorite Alan Watts quote. And I said, wow, like I love that quote. You are under no obligation to be who you were 5 minutes ago. You can be whatever you desire to be. So I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful reminder. Just a little bit of an update. So I did have surgery on June 23rd. And so many of you, I was very open and honest about it. I want to act in integrity and authenticity in everything that I do. Part of me wanted to just disappear for 4 weeks and have the surgery and not say anything and just come back and act like everything was exactly the same. But I also felt that that wouldn't be entirely acting in integrity because I'm so open and honest about my life and all of my manifestations and all of the things that I experience. And so it was part of this journey. 3 years ago in 2022, I had emergency lung surgery and nearly lost my life. And it was a medical emergency. It was a health crisis and things were chaotic. I was sick. It was very painful. It wasn't a very good experience. And so, but what led to that contrast led to substantial growth in my business and considerable health in my life. So since then, I have focused upon healthy, nutritious food, moving my body, going to the gym. I have a personal trainer. I drink a lot of water, take all of my beautiful supplements, move my body every single day, get a good night's sleep, all of that. And the results of acting in the assumption of health for the past 3 years was a release of 135 pounds. And so with the release of 135 pounds left a substantial amount of extra skin. And so I went in for surgery on June 23rd and I had skin removal surgery. They also repaired my abdominal walls. My abdominals down the middle were completely separated from childbirth, having 2 babies, but also carrying so much weight for so long. And then I also had a breast lift with fat transfer. So pretty extensive surgery. But here I am 4 weeks later, and I am moving around doing 10,000 steps a day and absolutely loving life. The key to this surgery, though, is that it was a full release. It was a release of the things that no longer serve me. So the extra skin actually was representative of all of the old ideas that I carried that led to me carrying so much weight for so long. So No judgment for my body, no judgment for the weight. This wasn't about trying to maintain a perfect figure. This was truly about allowing myself to return to the truth of who I am, my natural state, and to let go of the parts of me that no longer served me anymore. And so with that, we got rid of the hair extensions as well and cut my natural hair. So here we are now. All of the old and loose skin has been removed. And I am functioning and moving in incredible ways. And now we have cut this hair off to this beautiful short version. If you want to go be bold and daring and do something like this, you go right ahead because it feels good. It feels really, really good. So let's chat about manifestation meets business. How about that? Let me tell you a little bit about me and my business. I am formerly a registered nurse. So I've always been a very driven woman. I will not tell you any other story. I have always been driven. I have always been motivated. I've always wanted to be successful in my life. I always wanted to help people. And so that's why becoming a nurse let me do that. And being in business was not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to sell anything. I didn't want to be a businesswoman because I thought it meant certain things. And so because I thought it meant certain things, it was not what I wanted to do. So I wanted to become a nurse and I could help people. So that decision led me to $100,000 a year was my salary when I left my nursing career. It led to a pension, it led to benefits, and a pretty traditional life. So, a traditional 9 to 5. I commuted an hour into the office every day, was in meetings all day long. I was in healthcare administration when I left, so I wasn't at the bedside anymore. And, no lunch breaks, no coffee breaks, and then drive home, make dinner, put the kids in the bath, put the kids to bed, watch a TV show, go to sleep. And that was kind of I call it my Groundhog Day life. It was kind of like that, the life that we are kind of taught to embody, to become. I was living that life. I resist it like crazy now. But back then, that's how it was. I started in entrepreneurship in 2017. I started growing my social media platforms, branding myself, selling products online. And I started to make similar amount of money on a part-time entrepreneur position, or I guess it's not a position, experience. And in that, I realized, okay, wait a minute, something's got to give here because I'm working 10-hour days over here, making the same amount of money as something that I'm working 4 hours a day. So what's going on there? And I started seeing all these women running these online businesses, these influencers, and they didn't have a very big followings or anything, but they were going to the gym in the middle of the day. They were taking their kids to the bus in the morning and picking their kids up from the bus stop. And I thought, something is going on here that I'm unaware of, because how is it that these women are making more money than me? They appear to be working less. They have more time freedom. And I started to realize, it wasn't only women. It's just that's what I was noticing. But lots and lots of men are experiencing that as well. And I was like, okay, what's going on? So I decided to quit my nursing career just before COVID in June of 2019. And by September, I was learning about the power of manifestation. I took a Bob Proctor course, and as soon as I got into that material, truth started operating in me. So when you're listening to things and you're learning things, these concepts, and they don't feel like they're new to you, you feel like you know them already, or maybe this isn't the first time you're hearing about it. And it feels so good. And you can't get enough and you want to keep listening. You guys always say to me, oh, Kathleen, I can't get enough of what you're saying. I just want to listen to you all day. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's not about my voice. It's not about me specifically. It's the ideas that I'm expressing to you. You're understanding that is truth resonating within you. These ideas are ideas that are already here. They're part of the soul's knowledge and understanding. And we're actually bringing them into your human consciousness. We're actually bringing them into your human's awareness. And so if that's you and you're listening, you are now like waking up to these ideas that have always been within you all this time. And so that's that feeling of truth operating. It was like that for me. So then I was growing my business using this material, and I started manifesting more money. I started manifesting more clients, more prospects into my business, more followers on my social media platforms. When my magnet started to draw to me something different than what it had been drawing to me before, my life started to change. And then I had this intuitive hit, wow, I would love to teach this. I would love to live in this work every single day. I would love to wake up and study this work, and I would love to then go and teach it to people. And then I would love to go talk to this person about it. What if I could impact people in this world through this work and be able to study it myself and to actually live in my passion? What would that be like? And I went, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And so I launched my coaching business in January of 2020. And by July, I had made $1 million in my business. And by December of that year, $3.3 million in revenue. And then that next year in 2021, we went from 3 million in revenue to 12 million in revenue. And the Business Insider magazine featured me in that year. And I had to send in all of my financials to prove, because Business Insider is not going to post anything until they have proof that it's the truth. And so Business Insider, I think it was $11.8 million in 2021, and they wouldn't round it up to 12. They were that authentic that they use the exact amount of revenue that came in, but I'll round it up to 12 because, it's this energy. So how did that happen though? How does somebody go from being a registered nurse making $37 an hour, a traditional 9 to 5, being an employee? I had an employee mindset. Absolutely. No one in my life had ever been an entrepreneur. So there was nobody for me to learn that from. I literally went out on an island. How does that happen? And then suddenly a year later become a millionaire, and then the next year become a multimillionaire. How does that happen? Because of the embodiment of this material. I sat with Bob Proctor in his studio June of 2021, and I asked him the question. I said, okay, Bob, look, for me, what you taught me, I took it and I ran with it. If you told me to have absolute faith, I had absolute faith. If you told me to think this idea, I thought this idea. If you told me to sit in my imagination and imagine this, I sat and I imagined this. If you told me to be more confident and believe that you're confident, I did that. So I was like, I learned from you, and my life's changed rapidly in such a beautiful way. It was one quantum leap after another, after another, after another. And he said to me, Kathleen, I said to him, why me? Because so many other people weren't experiencing this. So why was it that for me, my life was quantum leaping in such an effortless way and other people's wasn't? Because for me, this isn't about me leaping. This is about me helping other people leap now. This is my passion and my purpose and my calling, right? So I said to myself, I'm going to embody this work first myself. I'm going to become the absolute best version of me. I'm going to become my own best testimonial. But now I'm like, okay, I did it. I want to teach it to other people. But why do you think it is, Bob, that I was able to do it and other people aren't? And he said, because you took the material, you internalized it. How do you internalize an idea, right? Like I was like, okay, if it's in my head, is that what he means? And then as I was driving in the car, I'm like, oh, okay, I moved it into my body. It's an embodiment. So I don't believe in this material. I am this material, right? I don't teach manifestation. I am manifestation. I'm actually moving my body in the assumption of the truth of this work. There is a big difference between intellectually knowing a thing and spiritually knowing a thing. To be able to take an idea and let it be truth for you, and to move in the truth of that idea, that's this work. And so I want you to sit there and ask yourself, okay, so if I believed this to be true, what would I do differently? How would I think differently? How would I feel differently? And how would I engage in this 3D observed world in a different way? That's the key to this work. If you keep being the same person that you've always been, with the same thoughts that you've always held, feeling the exact same way as you've always felt every single day, and you keep doing the same things every single day, your outside world will just reflect that. It will stay the same. So in order for you to quantum leap your life, quantum leap your business, for you to experience something new during this iteration, right? This human experience you're having right now, you must do something different. You must be someone different, and you must feel differently. That is the key to this work. So why do I cut my hair off? Because it allows me to move into a vibration of something different. It is the difference between who you've always been and who you desire to be that creates the quantum leap, not simply the action, right? So a lot of people will ask me, Kathleen, how? What did you do? Tell me exactly what you did. How did you start the business? And how did you market yourself on social media? And how did you grow your following? And how did you sell clients into high ticket offers? And how did you do this? And how did you do that? And I am so resistive to that question. I resist it greatly because it's not about what I did. It's about what I thought. It's about my assumptions. It's about the feelings that I was in. So if I had launched my business January of 2020 as Kathleen from 5 years ago, we would not be on this Zoom right now. We would absolutely not be on this Zoom right now. I would not be a multimillionaire. I would not be embodying a billionaire version of myself. I probably wouldn't even have a business right now, to be honest with you. Because that version of me 5 years ago, she had no understanding of spirit and source and creator. She did not believe there was anything outside of herself other than her humanity. She did not believe in herself. She did not love herself. She would not have taken risks, taken bold action. Yes, I would have worked hard. Oh, don't you worry. I'm not lazy. I would have worked 12, 14 hours a day. I would have worked all day long. Absolutely. But now I sit here and I'm like, oh, somebody told me that somebody else taught a lesson or something for an extended period of time the other day. And I went, oh my gosh, I don't want to work that hard. That's the new me. Okay. And so if you feel like that's lazy, or you feel like that's, oh, I can't believe she said that, then I want you to question your patterns, your programs, your belief systems. Because I now hold the secret to, you know what, you can work less and make more. You can actually rest and make more money. You can actually make money while you're sleeping. You can actually go on vacation and money continue to pour into your life. So any belief that you have to work harder to make more is not a belief that I hold anymore. And so for me, it's about how can I serve at my grandest level. I want to change the world. I'm not sitting here wanting to sit on my couch and watch TV all day. I want to change the world and I want to do it in a big, big way. But I also don't want to work that hard. That's the balance. So I understand that there is significant impact for me to make. This life is not my own, but I am having a human experience and I want my human experience while I'm here to be wonderful. I want my daughters to have a wonderful experience. I want everyone around me to have a balance between a life of freedom and a life of impact. So imagine you can impact the world, a life of impact and a life of freedom together. You don't have to sacrifice your freedom for your impact. You can gain your freedom through your impact. And this is why my life is the way that it is. Because I'm here to serve, I'm here to do God's work. But God says, if you do the work that I am calling you to do, and you do it in a big way, your life will become better. It will become more abundant. It will become more prosperous. It will become more free. And so what I'm here to do is to help you guys to achieve success, whatever that means for you, whatever you want to achieve in your life. Whatever that human experience is that you want. But I'm here to help you do it in a way where you actually build freedom for your life, you build a legacy for others, and where you make a significant impact in this world. That is what we are here to do. So manifestation meets business then is understanding that all of these principles of manifestation, so law of attraction, right? Magnetism, using your imagination, the power of intention, the feeling of who you are, identity work, all of these things, they all apply to business specifically. Now, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You could be someone that is in a business or working for someone else that has a job, wants to move into entrepreneurship. It does not matter. The reason I use a business is because I want us to understand that it's our professional life. So when we use the powers of manifestation in our professional capacity in life towards our impact, we grow in our impact not by working more hours, not hustling and grinding, not stressing ourselves out, not burning ourselves out, but through business energetics, through alignment, through the power of vibration, and through these manifestation principles that we grow it while building a beautiful life for ourselves. So that's why I take business principles, strategy, inspired action, all that kind of stuff. But manifestation comes first. Consciousness comes first. If we think about the planes that we live on. We live, and I'm simplifying it into 3 planes, but yes, spiritually there's several planes, but for just ease of understanding, we live on 3 planes. We live on the spiritual plane. We also have an intellectual plane, and then there's the physical 3D observed world, or the body plane, right? So my entire life, I was just existing on the body. So like we got soul, mind, body. I was operating body. So what that meant is I didn't care about my mindset, never gave it any attention. It didn't matter to me. It wasn't a focus of mine. I just thought I was who I was, and that's how it was. So my mindset was set on a certain way, and I didn't change it. And spiritually, I wasn't even connected to nothing. So for me, it was my awareness was that I was a human and I was in a body. And so I did everything to move my body. Right? And so when I did that, I accomplished things in my life. Yes. I got degrees and I got promotions. I was a director when I left healthcare. So it was a pretty big job in the healthcare sector for the provincial government here in Canada. But what I didn't get was profound impact and joy and love and fun and abundance and prosperity and time and financial freedom, right? I'm in Toronto. I was showing someone around. Someone came to visit me. That means a lot to me. And I was showing them around all week while still working a business. I didn't have to go apply for vacation time and fight with the union about where I ranked on my union and whether or not I could have it off. I could just get up in the morning, take a couple of calls, get a little bit of stuff done for the business, and then go to the spa for the rest of the day. Go walk around Toronto, go out for dinner, do this and do that, right? So that is freedom. Freedom is also the ability to do what you want to do in the moment that you want to do it. You know how many times I've just literally booked a flight the next day and been like, okay, I'm going to go here now. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to go here, there. And then the financial freedom piece, right? So what is financial freedom? It's not having that feeling of, oh no, I don't want to pay this bill. I don't have that anymore. There is no thought in my mind that ever says, oh gosh, I don't want to pay this bill. I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill. I don't want to spend this money. Ooh, that's tight. Ooh, that's expensive. Ooh, I don't like that. No, I don't even know the price of things. I have no idea. Somebody asked me, oh, how much did that cost the other day? And I said, I don't know. I didn't even look. That's freedom. Your furnace breaks down. You need a brand new one and you just say, okay, fix it. You're not going to go call 17 different places and try and find the cheapest one or try to get it repaired. You have 3 different repairmen come in to try to fix it because you don't want to pay the cost that it costs for the furnace. Because in your mind, you believe you don't have it. In your mind, you believe you can't afford it. These are all ideas, right? So I want to get rid of those ideas. So once you take the principles of manifestation and you operate from a high level consciousness, from the grandest version of you, then I want you to take action. So don't get it twisted. I run a business. I'm the CEO of an 8-figure corporation. I have another 3 companies, and then I have some investments in another 3 companies as well. So I am a businesswoman, and I am somebody that takes action in my life, but I am not doing it in a way that I would have in the past. I'm doing it in alignment. I'm using business energetics. I'm using identity. I'm using imagination. I'm using manifestation in this in a huge way. It is the most important part of it. So before you do anything in your business or in your life, I want you to ask the question of who am I being? How am I feeling? What are my assumptions? What is the intention that I'm setting before you do anything? I do not want you to do anything in your business and a feeling of, I'm not successful. This isn't going to work anyway. I'm afraid people are going to judge me. I'm going to procrastinate and put it off because I'm not so sure it's going to work. I don't want any of that. The energy that you do a thing in determines the outcome. So, and what I mean by energy, right? So, we hear a lot of this whole language about energy, business energetics. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? So we live in a world that is energy. It's vibration, right? So everything is vibrating and you yourself are vibrating and you're vibrating according to the ideas that are planted in the mind, right? So I think about it this way. The old version of me, Kathleen 5 years ago, it's not like people disliked me 5 years ago. I've never been somebody that nobody liked, but I was more quiet, timid, shy. I was very hard on myself, very self-conscious. I wouldn't go out to things because I just felt ugly and I didn't want to go and I couldn't find an outfit to wear, so I wouldn't go. I didn't really believe in myself in a powerful way. I believed that one day I would be moderately successful, and maybe I was, but I wasn't good enough. I'm not as good as them. Oh, no, no. They're going to accomplish that because they have something that I don't have. That's the belief that I held, right? So imagine the feeling of what it was like to be Kathleen back then. So the vibration, the way I was vibrating and feeling about me, I walked around in the world in that feeling every single day. So the feeling of not enough, not worthy enough, not knowing enough, not achieving enough, not being enough, it had this feeling. It had this energy. And so when I would walk into a room, even walking into the grocery store, selling my business, like selling my business products online, this energy was, it was like my magnet was sending out this beacon that said, I'm here, come see me, but really not a lot, and I'm not that good enough, and I'm not that worthy, and it's okay. So my vibration was like this, it's like, okay. And then I went in and I reprogrammed everything, and I was like, okay, what is the best thing for me to have my human believe today? From that spiritual perspective, when I really started to understand the power of spirit, my soul, source energy, creator, infinite intelligence, right? So when I started to see that, I started to think from the soul's perspective, from the God perspective, the God essence within me. How would God see me? Would God see my limitations? Would God say that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't good enough? Absolutely not. God does not judge. The God of my understanding does not judge. So I went up to that soul's perspective and I said, what's the best thing for Kathleen to believe about herself today? And so guess what? In a bold and daring fashion, I said, well, she thinks she's pretty incredible. She's pretty confident. She's pretty powerful. Hey, she's been really successful. Then I started to say things like, oh, I'm the most confident woman that you'll ever meet. I'm the most driven woman that you'll ever meet. I am so bold and I am so daring. Look, I take risks. I take bold action. I go all in. Like, I even say these things to you now. But I did not believe them then, right? They weren't the truth of who I believed I was. I convinced myself I was. So now let's think about vibration then. When I started to fall in love with myself, this work, I started to convince myself that I was confident, that I was loved, that I was powerful, that I was beautiful, that I was successful, that I was accomplished. The belief that I could help people, that I could be the one to help you achieve what you want to achieve. That's a belief. It's an idea in my mind. And so I started to believe these things, and guess what? My vibration went from this like low and slow type of feeling to like, woo! This woman's on fire. I love her energy. I want to listen to her more. I want to come on her live events. I want to be her friend. I want to hang out with her. I want to take her courses. I want to be in her programs. My magnet changed. So our magnet is always on. We don't turn it off. So it's not like back then my magnet was off. Back then, my magnet was drawing to me the equivalent vibration, right? So the beacon that was being sent out was like, don't give me too much attention, not too much success because I'm not that successful. And so now the beacon sends out this beautiful signal that says, I'm here for it all. I want to help you all. I want to serve you all. I can do it. I'm powerful. I'm strong. I'm confident. And so this is where my business quantum leaped. Because energetically, I changed the vibration of the feeling of what it means to be me. So if you are someone that's resonating with the old version of me, you're like, oh, yeah. But it's going to take self-awareness. There's a self-awareness section in this workbook because that's where I want you guys to really be honest with yourself. Do you really believe you are good enough? Do you really believe you are worthy? Do you think somebody can do it better, or do you think you're the best for the job, right? The law of compensation says you will be compensated for how important what you do is, how good you are at it, and if you can be replaced. So the old me would have been like, oh yeah, I'm just another nurse amongst the millions of nurses in the world doing a job. Am I the best nurse there is? Probably not. I probably think that other people would have done it better. Could I be replaced? Of course. If I go off work for 6 months, they'll just fill my spot with another nurse. Those are the beliefs I had back then. Now, for me, understanding the law of compensation then, I'm like, okay, what is the most important work? What I'm doing right now. Nothing is more important than this in my mind, right? Not what the world believes, but what I believe. So I believe this is the most important work. So whatever it is you do, I want you to believe that it is the most important work there is in this world. It is life-changing. It is impactful. It is significant. It is important. And then you're the best for it. Okay. So I think I am the best manifestation teacher, but I do not think I'm better than anyone else. Okay. The ego wants to say you're better when, like, what does that have to do with anything? We're not in a competition. So I am the best manifestation teacher for the individuals that are drawn to me in these moments that it's needed the most. Do I believe that I am as good as I will get? No. I actually believe that every day I'm getting better. Every day I'm improving. Every single day I'm becoming an even greater version, grander version of myself. But I do want to believe that, yes, I'm the best for the job. You want to be able to stand there in front of God and say, use me. And if you are someone that doesn't believe you are good enough, you do not believe you are worthy, you think somebody else can do it better, you're not standing there saying, use me. You're saying, oh, maybe use someone else. And it's your own ego. It's your own wrong and small thoughts that are keeping you from being a vessel to serve in a beautiful way. So yes, let God use you. And then can you be replaced? I truly do not believe I can be replaced. And I don't say that from an egoic place. I mean, my stories, my life, my testimonies, my material, my testimonials, my community that I've built, the coaching academy that we've built here. You can't replicate it and you can't replace it because it is the uniqueness of who we are in this moment, answering the call to good, Romans 8:28, the call to good. So this is my call to good. So can you see how then vibration and the energetics in your business mean everything? Because if I'm going to stand up here as a business owner in front of you all and telling you, yes, buy my service, buy my products, come into my store, let me sell your house, let me do your marketing for you, whatever that is, whatever your business is. If I'm standing here up in front of you and I am in an energy or a vibration that says, I'm not so sure that I'm going to be the best person for you, they're never going to hire you. They're never going to buy your products. They're never going to purchase your services. They're never going to let you step into your greatest, grandest version because you're not asking them to. So the most important thing that I can do every single day is to manage my energy, manage my vibration. Authenticity is the most magnetic energy in the entire universe. Authenticity. What does that mean? To be your authentic self. Authenticity doesn't necessarily mean honesty, but it means being your authentic self, being the real and true version of you, right? It's being your grandest version. What is the greatest vision for your life that you could think up? And what would be the grandest version of you that you need to be in order to have the greatest vision? I learned that from Neil Donald Walsh. Absolutely beautiful. So your responsibility is to show up as your grandest version every single day. Why would we fear being ourselves? Why would we fear that? It is the easiest, most effortless thing to be, to just be yourself. Because we are not taught self-awareness. We are not taught to know ourselves. We are not taught to change our identity, to be fluid, to allow ourselves to shift and to mold and adapt, to say that we are the exact same person we were at the age of 18, at the age of 43, at the age of 90 would be absolutely ridiculous. It would be absolutely ridiculous to believe that we are the exact same person. Now, get in my work and start growing and transforming, and you will be a different person once a year, all the time, in the best way. So things that used to be limited thoughts become empowering thoughts, and then those empowering thoughts become limited thoughts the more you expand, because you realize that we are absolutely infinite. And so even thinking from millions, multi-millions of dollars is a limitation. Why? Because we have access to billions, trillions, infinity. So to think in millions is actually a limitation if you think from the billionaire place. But I want you to climb this ladder of belief. I want you to climb the ladder of limitation and release those limitations as we go, and you allow it to expand you, allow yourself to grow. So business energetics has to do with the vibration that you're in, the magnetism, and the identity. So identity, right? So how do you identify yourself? If you were to describe yourself to someone, what would you say? And I want you to do it. We did this at Manifest Toronto. I had everyone at their tables introduce themselves. I said, I want you to introduce yourself to members of your table, but do not use any roles that you play in life. So don't use you're a mother, a father, you're a manager, a CEO, a business owner, a nurse, a this or that or the other thing. Don't do it. Introduce yourself without using the roles, right? That's identity. I'm not what I do for a living. I am a beautiful spiritual being who's having a human experience that has fallen in love with teaching the principles of manifestation to the world to elevate collective consciousness. That is who I am. What do I do? Well, if you're going to ask me that, then I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a best friend, I'm a manifestation teacher, I'm a CEO. But to identify who you are is the truth of who you are. And guess what? The identity that you hold about you, it has an emotional conception. There's an emotional conception of self. What does that mean? There's a feeling. There's a feeling of what it feels like to be you. I've asked a couple people recently. I said, what does it feel like to be you? What does it feel like to be you? And they're like, oh, well, it feels pretty good. I'm like, okay, tell me more. Well, I wouldn't want to be anybody else. I truly believe that now. I would not want to be anybody but me. And my whole entire life, I always wished I was someone else. I wished I looked like someone else. I wish I had somebody else's body. I wish I had somebody else's personality, somebody else's sense of humor. I wish I had somebody else's job, somebody else's amount of money, etc., etc. It was always that belief of just wishing to have a different experience because who I wasn't good enough. And when I let all of that go and I actually allowed myself to be my authentic, true self, that's where true freedom came. And that's where all the money came, all the love came, all the joy came, all the freedom came, all the abundance, all the success, etc., etc. And so now I'm like, wow, I'm actually an incredible person and I wouldn't want to be anybody else. Today, I also only want to be me. Isn't that beautiful? Doesn't that feel so good to not want to be anyone else?